After that momentous day in the month of Ramadan, revelation came again and again to the Prophet, peace be upon him. He understood now what he had to do and prepared himself for what was to come. Only a strong and brave man, helped by Allah, can be a true prophet because people often refuse to listen to Allah's message. Khadija Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anha was the first to believe the Prophet, peace be upon him, and accept as true what he brought from Allah. Through her, Allah made things easier for the Prophet, peace be upon him. Khadija Radhiyallahu Ta'ala Anha strengthened him, helped him spread his message, and stood up to the people who were against him. Then revelation ceased for a time. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was upset and unhappy, thinking that Allah had left him, or that he might have angered Allah in some way so that Allah no longer thought him worthy of his message. However, the Archangel Jibreel came back to him and brought this surah or chapter of the Quran. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. By the morning sunlight and the night when it falls still. Your Lord, O Prophet, has not abandoned you, nor has he become hateful of you. And the next life is certainly far better for you than this one. And surely your Lord will give so much to you that you will be pleased. Did he not find out you as an orphan, then shelter you? Did he not find you unguided, then guided you? And did he not find you needy, then satisfied your needs? So do not oppress the orphan, nor repulse the beggar, and proclaim the blessings of your Lord. The Prophet, peace be upon him, began to speak secretly of Allah's message to those who were close to him and whom he could trust. At that time, Makkah was going through hard times. There was very little food to be had. Abu Talib, the Prophet's uncle, who had taken care of him after his grandfather's death, was finding it very difficult to feed his large family. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that he and his other uncle, Al-Abbas, who was a rich man, would each bring up one of Abu Talib's children in order to help him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, took Ali and his uncle took Jafar. One day, when the Prophet, peace be upon him, was outside the city, the Archangel Jibreel appeared to him. The Archangel kicked the side of a hill and a spring of water began to flow out. He then began to wash himself in the running water to show the Prophet, peace be upon him, the ritual ablution to be made before prayers. Then the Archangel showed him all the positions of the Muslim prayer, their various movements, and things to be said with each movement. The Prophet, peace be upon him, returned home and taught all these things first to Khadija and then to his followers. Since then, Muslims have continued to purify themselves before prayer by performing the ritual ablution and have followed the same movements and prayers first performed by the Prophet, peace be upon him. To begin with, though, only the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his wife knew of these things. Then one day, Ali entered the room and found the Prophet, peace be upon him, and Khadija praying. He was puzzled and asked what they were doing. The Prophet, peace be upon him, explained to him that they were praising Allah and giving thanks to him. That night, Ali stayed up thinking about all that the Prophet, peace be upon him, had said. He had great admiration and respect for his cousin. Finally, he came to a decision, and the next day he went to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and told him that he wanted to follow him. Thus, Khadija was the first woman to embrace Islam, the teachings which the Prophet, peace be upon him, brought from Allah, and Ali was the first young man. Shortly after, they were joined by Zayd ibn Haritha, a slave freed and adopted by the Prophet, peace be upon him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, began to leave Makkah in order to pray. One day Abu Talib happened to pass by, and when he saw them, he stopped and asked them what they were doing. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told him that they were praying and following the same religion as Ibrahim. He explained that, like Ibrahim, he had been ordered to guide the people to Allah's truth. Abu Talib looked at his son, Ali, and said, Muhammad, peace be upon him, would never make you do anything that was wrong. Go with him. But I cannot leave the religion I now follow, and which was followed by my father. Then he returned to the Prophet, peace be upon him, saying, Even so, I promise you, Muhammad, peace be upon him, that no one will hurt you as long as I am alive. And with that, Abu Talib went on his way. At about this time, the news of Muhammad, peace be upon him, being the Prophet, reached an honest, wise, and respected merchant of Makkah called Abu Bakr. He knew Muhammad, peace be upon him, well and believed he would never lie. So he went to find out for himself if the story was true. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told him that he had indeed been sent by Allah to teach everyone to worship the one true Allah. On hearing this from the Prophet's own lips, Abu Bakr knew it to be the truth and became a believer instantly. Later, the Prophet, peace be upon him, was reported to have said that everyone he ever invited to accept Islam showed signs of disbelief and doubt, except Abu Bakr. When he was told of it, he did not hold back or hesitate. Because of his wisdom, honesty, and kindness, people had always turned to Abu Bakr for advice. He was therefore a man of some influence, and through him, many people came to Islam. Among these was Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, the uncle of Amina, the Prophet's mother. The night before Abu Bakr came to visit him and tell him about Islam, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas dreamt that he was walking into darkness. As he walked, he saw the moon, and when he looked at it, he saw Ali, Abu Bakr, and Zaid, the Prophet's freed slave, beckoning to him to join him. When Abu Bakr told him about the Prophet's religion, he understood the meaning of his dream and went at once to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and declared himself a Muslim. He understood that to be a Muslim means to submit oneself to Allah's will and to serve only Him. Another person brought to Islam by Abu Bakr was Bilal. One night Abu Bakr went to the house of Umayma ibn Khalaf, one of the most important men of Quraysh. Umayma was out and Abu Bakr found only Umayma's slave Bilal at home. Abu Bakr talked to the slave about Islam, and before he left, Bilal too had become a Muslim. The number of people following the Prophet, peace be upon him, began to grow. Sometimes they would all go out of the city to the mountain around Makkah to hear him recite the Quran and to be taught by him. This was all done very secretly, and only a few people knew about Islam in those early days.